Blind obedience to societal norms weakens personal power because society's rules are rarely designed with your strength, sovereignty, or advancement in mind. Most norms are crafted to maintain order, predictability, and control, qualities that benefit the collective but often restrain the individual. When you accept these norms without questioning their origin or purpose, you surrender the right to shape your own identity and direction. You trade the complexity of strategic thinking for the comfort of conformity, and in doing so, you allow invisible forces to script your behavior. Power demands awareness, and awareness dies the moment you follow rules without asking who created them and why. Society encourages people to behave in ways that keep them manageable. You are expected to be agreeable, predictable, polite, and compliant because these traits make you easier to regulate. But power isn't born from being manageable, it's born from being intentional. Those who hold influence in history, leadership, or strategy rarely ascended by simply doing what they were told. They observed the norms of their culture, understood them thoroughly, and then decided which ones served their purpose and which ones did not. Blind obedience means accepting norms as universal truths. Intelligent rebellion means recognizing that norms are nothing more than agreements. Agreements you are not obligated to uphold if they sabotage your potential. Blind obedience also breeds dependency. When you let society dictate what is acceptable, what is valuable, what is moral, and what is possible, you lose the ability to judge for yourself. Instead of developing your own compass, you follow the one handed to you. Instead of building resilience through decision-making, you surrender to the majority's judgment. This dependency becomes a leash, one that tugs at your confidence every time you're faced with a choice that lies outside the approved script. True power requires inner autonomy, a state in which your mind functions independently from the pressure of collective expectations. Another danger of blind obedience is the illusion of safety. Society convinces you that following the rules guarantees protection. Behave like everyone else and you won't attract criticism. Think like everyone else and you won't risk embarrassment. Move like everyone else and you won't provoke conflict. But this safety is fragile. It disappears the moment norms change, approval shifts, or the crowd turns in a different direction. The individual who relies on societal approval for security is never secure. They stand on sand, not stone. Power does not come from hiding within the crowd, but from standing strong outside of it. Blind obedience also limits your capacity for strategic thinking. When you automatically accept norms such as be humble, don't question authority, don't challenge tradition, or don't make others uncomfortable, you restrict the boldness and creativity required to advance. Society often rewards risk-averse behavior because it maintains stability. But greatness comes from those who challenge assumptions, test boundaries, and create new paths. Those who obey without analysis never cultivate the mental sharpness needed to maneuver through complex situations. Power always favors the thinker, not the follower. Moreover, societal norms are often contradictory. You are told to be kind, yet people admire confidence. You are taught to be patient, yet society rewards speed. You are instructed to be modest, yet opportunities gravitate toward those who assert themselves. When norms contradict reality, the obedient individual becomes confused and directionless. The strategic individual, however, observes the contradiction, understands the hidden hierarchy of values beneath it, and acts according to results rather than expectations. Blind obedience leaves you trapped in a web of mixed messages, while clarity comes from analyzing what norms actually produce in the real world. Blind obedience can also shrink your ambition. Society tends to impose ceilings disguised as rules. It tells you what is socially acceptable to desire, what is reasonable, what is realistic. But every influential figure in history shattered a societal norm before they rose. They refused to let the crowd's limited vision dictate their own. Obedience to norms is a quiet invitation to accept mediocrity. Power, on the other hand, demands an unfiltered examination of what you truly want, regardless of whether it aligns with collective expectations. Finally, blind obedience keeps you unaware of your leverage. When you follow norms automatically, you never see how bending or breaking them strategically can shift dynamics in your favor. Understanding which norms can be manipulated, whether in conversation, negotiation, leadership, or alliances, gives you an edge. Following them blindly ensures you remain predictable, and predictability is the enemy of influence. Seeking universal approval makes you predictable and easily controlled because it binds your identity to the shifting desires of others. When your decisions depend on how the crowd will react, you hand them authority over your thoughts, your goals, and your direction. Approval becomes the leash, and every compliment becomes a tug that pulls you away from your own path. The desire to be liked may seem harmless, but it forges a mindset that makes you vulnerable to manipulation. Anyone who understands your need for validation gains power over you, and the more you crave approval, the more you must bend, adapt, and soften yourself to obtain it. The hunger for approval begins subtly. You adjust your tone to avoid conflict. You suppress opinions that might offend. You choose the safer dream because it attracts less judgment. You become skilled at reading the emotional weather of others, but in doing so, you forget to look inward. Slowly, your true self grows quiet as the socially acceptable version of you becomes louder. This transformation doesn't feel like a loss at first. It feels like survival, but the cost is the death of your independence. Approval is a reward society gives you for abandoning your authority and submitting to its norms. People who seek approval constantly fear rejection, and that fear makes them powerless. A person who fears disapproval cannot stand firm during conflict, cannot negotiate strongly, and cannot refuse demands that drain their energy. They become easy to guilt, easy to shame, and easy to pressure. The crowd senses this fear the way a predator senses the hesitation of prey. Humans may not hunt each other with claws, but they use opinions, gossip, and silent judgment as weapons. When you show desperation for approval, you broadcast where you can be attacked, persuaded, or controlled. Approval seeking also destroys authenticity. You begin walking on a stage where every gesture must be rehearsed. Instead of speaking your truth, you speak what will be applauded. Instead of acting from conviction, you act from anticipation of the crowd's reaction. Over time, this performance becomes your identity. The tragedy is that you become admired for a mask rather than respected for a self. And once you build a life on a mask, you cannot remove it without risking the collapse of everything you gained through that performance. Approval becomes a prison disguised as praise. Another consequence of chasing approval is emotional exhaustion. You try to please people with competing expectations. One person wants you bolder, another wants you softer. One demands you be agreeable, another respects only confidence. The more you try to satisfy everyone, the more fragmented you become. The weight of maintaining harmony crushes your spirit, and you lose the ability to make decisions without mentally calculating how people will react. Instead of moving forward, you freeze. Instead of acting with purpose, you hesitate. Approval seekers live in a constant state of tension, as if the world is a panel of judges waiting to rate their next move. At its core, seeking universal approval is impossible. People judge based on their insecurities, their biases, their experiences, and their shifting moods. You could sacrifice your authenticity, abandon your values, and silence your truth, and still others will find reasons to disapprove. The pursuit of universal approval is a race with no finish line, one that leaves you drained and directionless. Every attempt to please one person risks displeasing another. Those who seek approval end up pleasing no one, not even themselves. Approval seeking also makes you predictable, and predictability is dangerous in any social or strategic environment. When people know you fear their disapproval, they know exactly how to influence you. They know which opinions will silence you, which expressions will make you back down, and which criticisms will push you into compliance. Predictability hands others a map of your behavior, allowing them to anticipate and shape your actions. Once someone can predict you, they can control you without lifting a finger. In contrast, those who are indifferent to approval possess an aura of power. They act based on reasoning, ambition, and strategy rather than applause. They unsettle people because they cannot be easily guilted or swayed. Their confidence comes from inner validation rather than public opinion. This independence forces others to respect them, even if they are not universally liked. Approval seekers often fail to understand this truth. Respect and admiration do not come from trying to please everyone, but from standing strong even when it displeases many. When your worth depends on external approval, you live as a reflection rather than a force. You mirror what others want instead of expressing what you truly are. You wait for direction instead of choosing your own. You thrive only when others shine light on you and fade whenever they turn away. Seeking universal approval is a quiet form of self-erasure, a slow surrender of your influence, your identity, and your power, playing by fair rules. In an unfair world is a strategic disadvantage because fairness is not a universal standard. It is an illusion maintained by those who benefit from it. Society praises fairness because it keeps people predictable, docile, and easy to manage. But beneath the surface, power moves through influence, strategy, timing, and leverage, not through the moral simplicity that fairness demands. The world is built on competition, and those who cling to idealistic rules often discover that their dedication to fairness becomes a weapon used against them by those who have no intention of reciprocating it. From an early age, people are conditioned to believe that fairness guarantees success. Work hard, follow the rules, do what is right, and you will be rewarded. This story is comforting, but it is not reflective of the world's actual structure. In reality, rules shift depending on context, power dynamics, and the interests of those in control. Those who rely on fairness expect the world to behave logically and consistently, but the world behaves according to ambition, fear, and advantage. When you play fairly in a system that doesn't reward fairness, you put yourself at the mercy of those who understand the game better than you do. Fairness also creates predictability, and predictable people are easy to outmaneuver. When your opponent knows you will always take the honorable path, they can plan around your behavior with precision. They know you won't retaliate aggressively, they know you will hesitate to deceive, and they know you will avoid strategies that might be perceived as ruthless. This gives them freedom to act without restraint while you bind yourself with self-imposed limitations. In competition, whether personal, professional, or political, the individual who limits themselves is already defeated long before the conflict begins. Another danger of playing by fair rules is that they create unrealistic expectations about how others will treat you. When you operate with integrity, you naturally assume others will do the same, but many will accept your fairness while offering none in return. They will exploit your transparency, take advantage of your generosity, and manipulate your honesty. Fair individuals often become shocked or disillusioned when this happens, but the truth is that their expectations were based on their own values, not the reality of human nature. Those who understand human complexity never assume fairness. They read motives, behaviors, and incentives rather than relying on moral assumptions. Fair rules also slow you down. In a world that rewards speed, adaptability, and decisive action, fairness can force you into hesitation. You may delay an opportunity because you want to avoid offending someone. You may refrain from claiming credit because you want to share it equally. You may hold back from advancing because you are waiting for the right moment when no one will be inconvenienced. Meanwhile, someone less concerned with fairness takes the opportunity you hesitated to seize. The world does not pause for fairness. It rewards those who move with clarity and authority. Furthermore, fairness assumes equality of circumstances, but people do not start at the same level of influence, knowledge, or resources. A fair move for one person may be a crippling move for another. When you apply fairness without considering the broader context, you handicap yourself in battles where others have advantages you do not know about or cannot match. Strategists understand that different opponents require different tactics, and that adapting your strategy is not unfair, it is intelligent. Playing by rigid rules in a fluid world is like navigating a storm using a map drawn for clear skies. Fairness can also be a mask used by others to control you. People may insist on fair rules only when it benefits them. They call you unfair the moment you gain the upper hand. They accuse you of being unreasonable when you set boundaries, but expect you to comply with their demands without complaint. Fairness becomes a tool of emotional manipulation, a way to shame you into compliance while giving others freedom to act in self-interest. When you recognize this manipulation, you understand that fairness is not always a principle. It is often a strategy. Those who cling too tightly to fairness find themselves overlooked for leadership roles because leadership demands making decisions that will inevitably displease some. If you are terrified of appearing unfair, you will avoid necessary risks, avoid confrontation, and avoid taking control. Power does not reward those who fear discomfort. It rewards those who can act decisively despite it. Leaders who rise understand that fairness is a luxury in situations where strategy must take precedence. They do not abandon ethics, but they do not allow rigid fairness to paralyze their judgment. In the end, fairness should be a choice, not a cage. It is most powerful when used intentionally, not blindly. By recognizing that the world does not operate on a level battlefield, you free yourself to think strategically, adapt fluidly, and navigate complex situations with strength rather than naivete. In the end, society's most celebrated rules are often the very forces that silence ambition, weaken independence, and diminish personal authority. Blind obedience hands away your autonomy. The need for universal approval turns your identity into a negotiation, and the commitment to fairness in an unfair world cripples your ability to compete. The individuals who rise are not those who cling to comforting illusions, but those who see the world as it truly is: dynamic, unequal, and governed by power, not idealism. Strength comes from questioning the rules, choosing your actions with strategy rather than sentiment, and refusing to let the expectations of the crowd determine in the direction of your life. When you stop living for their comfort and start acting for your own authority, you step out of the role society scripted for you and into the role of someone capable of shaping their own reality.